The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
There was a young man who became very, very ill. The doctors discovered a very dangerous growth, and they were very concerned about his outcome. And the fellow obviously was beyond himself, and he's a young fellow, he's got a wife, he has children, and he traveled to different gedolim in Eretz Yisrael with the hope that he could get brachas, maybe skulas for refuas and for yeshuas. And he decided one day that he was going to go to the keva of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, to Rajbi. We just finished Lag BaOmer, such a powerful, amazing place. That day he went to visit one of the gedolim in Klal Yisrael. And that gadol in Klal Yisrael was someone who he knew, his families knew from the past. And the gadol said to him, the gadol heard he was sick, and the gadol was very hurt by the fact that he was sick and that he was struggling with this incredible challenge. And he said he's going to die from it. He said, but I need you to do me a taiva. When you go to the keva of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, I have a letter. I'd like you to put the letter on the tzion, on the tomb of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and Mitzvah Hashem, that'll bring you Yeshua. And the fellow says, K'vayid Harav, letters to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? What? And the Rav says, okay, if you want, I'll explain. He says, I want you to know something which you never knew about your own wife. When your wife was a single girl, in the Parsha of Shidduchim, somebody hurt her in a very, very deep way, a way that was incredibly damaging. Ainas devarim on steroids. And your wife was shaken to her core, and it hurt everything about her. It hurt her self-esteem and her self-value, and it really impacted and affected her daily function. And the person who had hurt her realized how terrible of an act they had committed, and they went over to her and they asked her mechila, and she said, there is no way I'm being meichel you. You ruined me. You destroyed me. And eventually, the perpetrator came to me, the Rav, and said, listen, this is what happened. I feel so terrible, but I really, really hurt this person. Is there any way you could speak to her to ask her to be meichel me? And the Rav said, I did. I called her in, told her I can't demand that she could be meichel, but I explained how the fact that when we're willing to be meichel, when we're willing to forgive, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes a similar approach. And initially she didn't want to hear, but after a few months, she softened and she said, you know what? I'm going to reach deep into the recesses of my neshama, and I'm going to try to find forgiveness. And eventually she agreed to forgive her. And the Rav asked her for a favor. The Rav says, I want you to write 2 kisvei mechila. I want you to write that I am Meichel B'Leiv Shalom, this person, for what they have done to me, and sign your name on the bottom, and I want you to do it twice. One, I want to give to the perpetrator. I think they've done so much to try to gain your Mechila, I think that they should have it. And the other, I'd like to keep. She says, why do you want to keep it? The Rav said, I don't know. I'm not sure why. And the Rav reaches into his desk, and he says, it's been 15, 20 years since your wife wrote that letter, but I never threw it out. Here it is. And I want you to go to the cave of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and I want you to put this letter on his cave, and I want you to say, Rabbi Shalom. This woman was willing to be meichel, to forgive and to forgo someone who had hurt her in such a profound way. Rabbi Shalom, I beg you, spare her from becoming an almana, from becoming a widow. Spare her from being a single mother to have to raise children. Spare her from the agony of grief, of sickness and avelus. Look what she has done. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, go before the Kisei HaKavod and beg from the Rabbi Shalom that he should somehow bring a refuah and yeshua to this woman. And this young man, this sick young man, was shaken to his core. And he goes to the cave of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, and with trembling hands, he places the letter on the caver, and he's crying and he begs and he pleads. And he walks out feeling somewhat comforted. It's hard to conclude stories this way because people don't believe them, but this is how I saw the story brought down in a very chashuv sefer. Within a week or two, the growth disappeared. Magically. Just totally disappeared. The power of being mevata, the power of biting your tongue, of the power of being able to forgive and forget, to focus on positivity and not negativity. The same way that Einas devarim is to say things out that you shouldn't say. The ability to be meichel someone that did that is so powerful and it's so profound that it could literally shake the shamayim, it can move heaven, and it can move earth.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org